It's 8:30 California Daylight Saving Time. Presenting Sam Hinton with a Calendar of Folksongs.
Oh, say, little doggies, quit roaming around. You've roamed and rambled all over this ground. Graze on doggies and move kind of slow, and don't forever be on the go. Move slow, little doggies, move slow.
Each Monday through Friday at this time, KSDJ brings you the folk songs of the kind that give rise to the music we know today. This, then, is the Calendar of Folksongs with Sam Hinton.
Hi-ho, hey, cattle, hi-ho. Well, good morning, folks. I'd like to start off today with a little old song that doesn't make a darn bit of sense. In fact, the name of the song is Ain't We Crazy, and it really is. Oh, I have a little ditty, it's as crazy as can be. The guy that wrote it said he wanted it and handed it to me, but I found I couldn't use it just because it sounded blue. That's the very reason why I'm handing it to you. It's a song the alligators sing while coming through the rye, as they serenade the elephants up in the tree so high. The Iceman hums his ditty as he shovels in the coal, and the monkeys join the chorus up around the Northern Pole. Ain't we crazy, crazy, this is the way we pass the time away. Ain't we crazy, you ain't we crazy, we're going to sing this song all night today. It was midnight on the ocean, not a streetcar was in sight, and the moon was shining brightly, for it rained all day that night. 'Twas a summer night in winter, and the rain was snowing fast. A barefoot boy with shoes on was sitting in the grass. It was evening, and the rising sun was setting in the west, and the little fishes in the trees were huddled in their nests. Rain was pouring down, the moon was shining bright, and everything that you could see was hidden out of sight. While the cows were making cowslips and the bells were ringing wet, and the bumblebees were making bums and smoking cigarettes, a man stepped in the stable and came out a little horse, so he hopped upon his golf stick and drove all around the course. While the organ peeled potatoes, larders rendered by the choir, and the sexton rung the dish rag, someone set the church on fire. Holy smoke, the preacher shouted, in the rain he lost his hair. Now his head resembles heaven, for there is no parting there. It was midnight on the ocean, not a horse car was in sight, as I stepped into the drugstore to get myself a light. The man behind the counter was a woman old and gray, who used to peddle shoestrings on the road to Mandalay. Good evening, sir, the woman said, and her eyes are bright with tears, as she put her head beneath her feet and stood that way for years. Her children, 6 were orphans, all except one tiny tot, who lives in the house across the street upon the vacant lot. Ain't we crazy, oh ain't we crazy, this is the way we pass the time away. Ain't we crazy, ain't we crazy, we're going to sing this song all night today. You know, in a way, that song represents the beginning of my collection of American folk songs, because when I was a little boy, I used to sing that to my zither or to my accordion. And once I sang it for my folks at a party, and I forgot part of it, so my mother suggested I write it down. Ever since then, I've been writing down all these old songs of mine, so I don't forget them quite so easily. I'd like to dedicate, for that reason, this song, and in fact this whole program, to my mother, because today is her birthday. She's not able to hear this program, being way up in Northern California, but just the same, I want to wish her a very happy birthday and let her know I'm thinking about her. I'd like to do a song now that Mother used to sing a lot when I was a kid. She was a piano teacher, but she was not at all above picking up the songs that everybody sang just around. And this is one of those. This is the Cowboy's Lament from down in Laredo, Texas. As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a cowpuncher wrapped up in white linen, wrapped up in white linen, as cold as the clay. I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy, these words he did say as I boldly drew nigh. Come sit down beside me and hear my sad story. I was shot in the breast and I know I must die. Get 16 gamblers to handle my coffin, get 6 pretty maidens to bear up my pall. Put bunches of roses all over the coffin, put roses new dead in their closet as they fall. Oh, beat the drum slowly and play the pipe slowly and play the dead march, and play the dead march as you carry me along. Take me out to the graveyard and lay it o'er me, for I'm I'm a young cowboy and I know I've done wrong. Go fetch me a cup of cool water to cool my parched lips, the poor cowboy said. But ere I returned, the spirit had left him and gone to its maker, the cowboy was dead. We beat the drum slowly and played the pipe lowly and bitterly wept as we bore him along. For we all loved our comrade, so brave, young, and handsome. We all loved our comrade, although he'd done wrong. And now here's another song that my mother used to sing. I don't know where she got it, probably in Texas, where she was raised and where she raised me. It's the story of old Grandmother Brown of Cranberry Town. Dear Grandmother Brown lived in Cranberry Town, and a kindly old lady was she. There was no one so bad, neither lassie nor lad, but some good in the same she could see. One fine afternoon, Mistress Polly Muldoon just came in for a moment at in an hour or more, and did naught but talk o'er the shortcomings of neighbors and friends. But in vain she did scold about young folks and old, only patient excuses she heard. Till at last she cried out, she would speak, I've no doubt, for old Satan himself a good word. Then said Grandmother Brown of Cranberry Town, well, whatever his failings may be, I don't think you could find many persons who mind their own business as closely as he. Now, folks, if you have any songs you'd like for me to sing, just drop me a card, address them to Sam Hinton, that's Hinton, at station KSDJ here in San Diego, and I'll sing your song just as quickly as I can get around to it. And now here's another old song. It has been one of my mother's favorites. I don't believe she taught this one to me, but she used to love to listen to it, I know. It's a spiritual from down in the South. It tells the story of the crucifixion, and it's called He Never Said a Mumbling Word. Oh, they whipped him up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. They whipped him up the hill, and he never said a mumbling word. He just hung down his head, and he cried. Oh, they nailed him to the cross, to the cross, to the cross. They nailed him to the cross, and he never said a mumbling word. He just hung down his head, and he cried. Oh, they pierced him in the side, in the side, in the side. They pierced him in the side, and the blood come a-twinkling down. He just hung down his head, and he died. Now this next song is one that my mother didn't exactly teach me. In fact, I don't know whether she's ever heard it or not. This is the first time I've ever sung it over the radio at all. So I'd like to dedicate it to my mother as sort of a birthday present. It's a fine old German love song called Heimliche Liebe, or Secret Love. No wood fire and no coal flame so burningly glows as love that is hidden and that nobody knows, and that nobody knows. Kein Feuer, keine Kohle kann brennen so heiß als heimliche Liebe, von der niemand nicht weiß, von der niemand nicht weiß. No clover and no roses can blossom so fair as when two true lovers their trust light shall swear. Their trust light shall swear. Keine Rose, keine Nelke kann blühen so schön, als wenn zwei verliebte Seelen beieinander stehen. Beieinander stehen. In my heart pray set a mirror, and therein you'll see my faith and my worship are only for thee, are only for thee. Setze du mir einen Spiegel ins Herz hinein, damit du kannst sehen, wie so treu ich es mein, wie so treu ich es mein. Now to wind up with, folks, I'd like to do one for the children. I've had several requests for this song. It's one that my wife and I sing to our children. It's one that my mother sang to us. As far back as I can remember, Mother has sung, Old Boaston was dead and laid in his grave. Old Boaston was dead and laid in his grave. Laid in his grave. Boaston was dead and laid in his grave. They planted an apple tree over his head. Over his head. They planted an apple tree over his head. The apples were ripe and ready to fall. Ready to fall. Apples were ripe and ready to fall. There came an old woman a-picking them up. Picking them up. There came an old woman a-picking them up. Old Boaston jumped up and he gave her a thump. And he gave her a thump. Boaston jumped up and he gave her a thump. It made the old woman go hippity-hop. Hippity-hop. Made the old woman go hippity-hop. If you want any more, you can sing it yourself. Sing it yourself. If you want any more, just sing it yourself. Well, folks, that's all for this morning, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning at 8:30. Oh, say, little doggies, quit roaming around. You've roamed and rambled all over this town. Graze on doggies, move kind of slow, and don't forever be on the go. Move slow, little doggies, move slow. Hi-ho, hi-ho, hey cattle, hi-ho.